Actually, I probably should turn it off while I'm talking to you. Talking to you about how food is more than sustenance. Food is more than a useful assemblage of atoms, that satisfies bodily needs. Meat is not just meat. Dairy is not just dairy. Vegetables are not just vegetables. Means to nutrition. Food is not just means. Food is also meaning. Think of some favorite dish. Maybe your mother's chicken soup recipe. Your father's stuffed portobello mushrooms. Maybe your grandmother's apple pie. Or your uncle's brined turkey. Maybe your friend's Thai curry. Maybe that awesome takeout sushi that you sometimes get from your favorite Japanese restaurant in Madison. These are not just dishes. These are social and ecological relations that you have.
And there are ways to think about those relations. As the famous anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss once said, food is not just good to eat. Food is bon à penser. Good to think.
In short, all these dishes are also stories. Central to all food are narratives, representations which create motivations and connections, both social and ecological, and which also create discouragements and disconnections in how we imagine our agroecological relations.
Leftovers for lunch. Pasta with meatballs that my wife and I made last night. Meat is from a local grass-based farm that we often buy from, and there's also in there kale from our garden.
A common feature of food narratives, or what I and some colleagues have called food ghosts. Now, we don't mean anything scary here. Nothing uncanny, nothing out of the ordinary, actually something very ordinary. If you think about it, the sense we so often have of the presence in food of those who are not physically there. When you make or eat your grandmother's apple pie, she's somehow there in the pie. Whether she's alive or dead, 1,000 miles away, or in the next room, or even maybe sitting right beside you. That's her pie recipe. That takeout sushi, it has the presence of the people of Japan, even if Madison is 6,000 miles from Tokyo. Or the chicken I bought from Nico Bryant's farm the other day. I'll just get it out. Nico delivered this to our house last Friday. And it has for me Nico in it. And those wonderful, silly chicken hats he loves to wear at the farmers' markets. Often, however, ghosts get, if you like, exorcised from food. Scholars call this commodity fetishism, and it's a common way we're encouraged to make disconnections from social and ecological relations, and not just in food, but actually in lots of what we buy and sell. Commodity fetishism, what does it mean? Well, it's when we treat something that we buy and sell as just a thing with no relations. Meat just becomes meat, wrapped in plastic with a label and price tag.
Through commodity fetishism, that meat we no longer think of as coming from an animal, as coming from a place, as coming from, say, Nico Bryant. Those ghosts, poof, they're gone. They've been exorcised. They have no presence any longer, and therefore no right to that commodity. It's owned by that label which marks its right to sell to you, and not the right of the people, animals, and land which made it.
The commodity will probably sell better, though, if it conveys some social meaning, too. So you'll see companies try to conjure up some logo ghosts, or even to try to steal ghosts that have little to do with the actual social and ecological relations involved. But hey, let's visit with Claudio as he whips up some real food ghosts and fights back at commodity fetishism, cooking up some meaning right in his own home.
Hey class, welcome back to my kitchen. You probably know that I really like food. Here's something that I was eating tonight. Oh, look at this. It's really beautiful, stinky blue cheese. Oh, you could just smell the mold like it was just sitting in a cave not too long ago. Oh, this is really great. Beautiful color, and nuttiness when you eat it. Oh, I just love these stinky cheeses. They're just so unique. Each one has different flavor profile. They come from only certain regions of the world. This here was a Stilton and a Roquefort. Stilton's from England. The thing that I love about these cheeses is their uniqueness. Just their funkiness, just their, you just can't get this in a commercial process. They're just so handmade. You can really taste it. They only come from certain areas of the world. They have a certain localness. The French call it a terroir. There's just something about the land in which they were made that gives them those characteristics. They have the provenance of some of these products are actually protected by law. They have a label. They have a protected origin denomination. The Italians call it the DOC system, the DOC, the Denominazione di Origine Controllata. It's like a special thing. If the product has not been made in a particular area, and if it doesn't follow certain protocols for how they're made, you cannot call it that. Whether it's gorgonzola or actually even different kinds of breads. This is actually a book from the region where I grew up in, where each town itself actually has different breads and the characteristics associated with them. And this one here has the protected label. You can't call it pane di Genzano if it's not from this particular area. And there's a lot of pride in the production of these. The same is true with cured meats. This is another favorite thing of mine. And when we moved to this country, the best thing I could come up with was something that was more like this. Actually, it was Oscar Mayer. That was all you could find. Now you can even find some more regional things. But the reality is that these are a far cry from the traditional way of making cured meats. In Italy, prosciutto and salame are part of the culture. Prosciutto is a cured leg of the pig, the ham, that is fed away from the production of Parmigiano, which is a particular kind of cheese, and acorns from the region where this particular prosciutto is known from. It's cured only with salt, and then it has to age in these caves for a year and a half to 2 years, depending on the type. And some of them, like the San Daniele, come out and they're just so delicate and so buttery. They're really amazing. And you cannot call it prosciutto San Daniele unless it's been produced in these particular areas. As it turns out, it's actually really hard to find these kinds of meats here in the US. Just now, in the last 5 or 10 years, can you do it? And so a few years back, I started trying to recreate some of these food traditions here in my own house. So let me show you what this is like here at my own house. Take a ride down to my basement here. This is A little unusual here, but you'll see I have this very nice refrigerator here that I got off of Craigslist. And in this refrigerator, I actually don't keep drinks. This is where I have my salamis curing. This is a new batch that a buddy of mine and I made, and they're not quite ready yet. Let's take a look at these guys here. Yeah, they're getting there. They've been hanging for about 2 weeks. They've got maybe another couple of weeks to go. You can see my humidity sensor in the back. This is my little setup here. I have a humidity generator. It's pumping moisture into the refrigerator. My temperature and humidity controller right there. I have to try to keep the humidity at a particular range. I'm basically trying to emulate what a cave would be like. This is when people would cure their meats back in the day. They would hang them in their cellars where the temperature was a perfect 60 degrees and the humidity was about 60 or 70%. And if you left them there long enough, you would get these amazing dry cured meats that would keep for a really long time. So this is just me trying to recreate a little bit of my own ancestry, a little bit of my own culture back here in my own basement. I'll let you know how it goes.
For me, at least, the moral is this. If you're going to have sausage or beef or chicken or turkey at Thanksgiving or whatever, make it meaning, not just meat. Ground your knowledge of its social and ecological relations. See its connections and contexts, and ground truth that knowledge too. Have meat and dairy or even vegetables that evoke real feelings. That is, feelings about the real and about real consequences for our agroecological relations. Besides, as Claudio says, your food will taste better too.